Greasy Line Dogs finished last season with the best record and just kept on rolling this week. They wound up with a solid victory against Strong Arm, winning 97.44 to 84.18. Greasy Line Dogs were a picture of symmetry, winning with a very balanced lineup. Cordarrelle Patterson paced the team by beating the average wide receiver by 7 points, while Frank Bauer, 4 points worse than the average running back, was the worst on the team. Patterson cut completely across the field and went through almost every player on the Rams defense for this amazing 67-yard TD. Meanwhile, Strong Arm had many underperformers, but Robert Griffin III stood out, notching only 9 points. That performance was the worst of any player this week. 3. Next week, Greasy Line Dogs will take on the 1-0 Drunken Soldiers. Coach Christopher Patrick's team had a huge week, posting 149 points. Meanwhile, Strong Arm will take on Paper Champions. Both Strong Arm and Paper Champions were favored to win this week, and lost, so maybe they'll each hope to be the underdog next week. Ice Ice Baby. Sleepers had to be wary coming into this game, after losing both matches against Sprinkles last season. Thankfully for Coach Eric Rainey, the past was not prelude. Sleepers squeaked past Sprinkles, winning 83.14 to 78.16. Big time luck for Sleepers in this contest, as they would have lost against all but one other team. The Texans defense/SD was expected to be the top performing D/SD this week, and that's exactly what he was. The Texans were the key contributor for Sleepers, delivering 23 points. Coach Jim Smart was either going to look brilliant or foolish after drafting Aaron Rodgers in the first round, and after this week's action, things aren't looking so good. Rodgers was the worst of 7 underperformers, dropping 12 points. He did the worst of any player drafted in the first round. The loss this week certainly wasn't Coach Jim Smart's fault. They started 3 players that the experts thought should be riding the pine. 2 of those picks, Antonio Gates and Kelvin Benjamin, worked out. The Antonio Gates move earning Volkswagen start of the week honors. The other pick, Trent Richardson, did not. Overall, these moves gave Sprinkles an extra 9.8 points, which wasn't quite enough. Still, Coach Jim Smart's lineup moves made them the best performing game day coach this week. It wasn't too close for comfort, but it was still pretty close. Teehees beat True Killers 94.02 to 88.96. Teehees, who was a 27-point underdog coming into the game, had a decent Sunday. Marshawn Lynch drove the bus, scoring 24 points. After the game, Seahawks Michael Bennett claimed that Green Bay was afraid to tackle Lynch, which certainly seemed like the case on this 9-yard TD run. Meanwhile, Root Killers decided the whole scoring points thing was pass. Vincent Jackson was the worst of a 6-man group of underperformers, scoring only 4 points. Root Killers also had to deal with the poor effort from Zach Stacy, 8 points below expected. Stacy got only 11 carries despite the Rams playing with their third-string quarterback. Going into Monday night, Root Killers were in a tough spot. Coach Triflers needed Jwack Bell and the Cardinals defense/SD to outscore Philip Rivers and Danny Woodhead by 9 points. Rivers and Woodhead were collectively terrible, scoring 16 points, giving Root Killers a real chance to win. Bell and the Cardinals gave a decent effort, but their 19.6 points weren't enough. It's not that hard to win when you have the league's top performer for the week, and Julius Thomas was that player. 2 Thomas was the key component as Yinski's demolished Boozers, winning 108.58 to 71.76. He somehow managed to rack up 3 TD receptions in the second quarter alone, including this embarrassing juke of Cole, Stevie Lair and Landry. Meanwhile, Boozers were having trouble reaching Paydirt, getting into the end zone only 1 time. That was the lowest TDs total of any team this week. Heath Miller's tuckout has the worst performer in that category for Boozers, posting 0 TDs. 1. Hopefully, Coach Matthew Finney is just getting their bad breaks out of the way early. Paper Champions got beat by the Drunken Soldiers, 149.42 to 130.94. It was a brutally unlucky loss for Paper Champions, who would have won every other game being played this week. Coach Christopher Patrick used their first pick on Calvin Johnson, and Johnson came through. Megatron joined up with Matt Ryan and the 49ers defense/SD to produce 89 points. Johnson contributed a 29-point performance, which topped all but one player this week. 3 Like the world's most interesting man, Johnson doesn't always get 30 yards open, but when he does, he scores touchdowns. Coach Patrick, what do you think about Johnson's performance? Coach Patrick said, that's why I chose him with the 6th overall pick. He provided the team with his skills and the ability to run a 4-3, and he is an overall great player. Thanks to him we prevailed this week. We thought Coach Finney made a shrewd pickup after drafting Stephen Ridley in the 6th round, but that move did that look so good this week. Ridley and the Steelers defense/SD combined to put up 8 points for Paper Champions. The Drunken Soldiers will be going against Greasy Line Dogs next week. Both the Drunken Soldiers and Greasy Line Dogs won despite being underdogs, so the experts may have underestimated these squads. As for Paper Champions, they will match up with Strong Arm. This was expected to be a close game, and the predictions ended up being right. Showtimers just edged by Brain Cell Terminators, winning 101.5 to 98.72. We knew we were gonna be in a dogfight coming into the week. We put the game in our quarterback's hands, and he didn't disappoint, said Coach Fallow, when asked about the win. 3 players, Andrew Luck, Matt Burke, and Antonio Brown, delivered victory to Showtimers, getting 66 of their team's 102 points. For data damage, as both a runner and receiver, racking up 82 and 87 yards, respectively. Meanwhile, Coach John Slasko will have a hard time pinning the blame for this loss on any particular player. Brain Cell Terminators had 5 underperformers, with T.Y. Hilton, 4 points, being the worst. Brain Cell Terminators also had to deal with a poor effort from Drew Brees, 11 points, below expected. Reach thousands of education-minded users